So the problem in the tactic, we were going to an event and we didn't have a booth. Sales team freaks out. How are we going to tell people where we are? What's the point of this? Why are we even going? How are they going to recognize us? My answer, they're going to recognize us the same way that they'd recognize a booth, through branding. So that beautiful AirVet blue, our pens, our logo, we're just going to do it all digitally before. So I thought, let's use our pens, let's use our creative, let's use our logo and our swag. HR leaders are our main audience. So we tested 2 ads. 1, let's talk at IBI, which was the conference. And 2, want a dog pen. Guess which one did better on LinkedIn ads? It was want a dog pen. We spent about $1,000 on ads. It was a super small list. Of course, like every conference, you are absolutely contractually not allowed to email the attendees before, but we got a full list. So we uploaded all of those into LinkedIn ads and Vector. And we also ran kind of like all of our target accounts in the area. So this was happening in Chicago, and did some lookalike stuff in the area to kind of broaden that list, because there were only about 500 attendees, not the best targeting list.
All right. Hey, everybody. Excited to be here. My name is Dave. I am the founder of Exit 5. We run the top community in the world for B2B marketing professionals. And I might just say it on the record because I want to do this, but we really want to do this every Friday. And we had this hypothesis. So twice a month, we do these Exit 5 live sessions where we bring on subject matter experts and we talk about important stuff in B2B marketing beyond the hype from LinkedIn. Because I think one of the most challenging things right now is, man, going on, when I open up LinkedIn, nothing makes me feel more insufficient or not capable as a marketer. Like, I cannot keep up with the rate of change. But then there's this weird gap, because then when I actually talk to marketers and CMOs and people inside of our community, the gap between what people are actually saying, what the AI creators are saying they're doing and generating millions in revenue on LinkedIn, and actually what's happening inside of marketing teams are 2 completely different things. And so our job here is to help you separate the signal from the noise. And I think our live sessions are a great way to do that. Today's topic is paid. We're going to talk about a bunch of great B2B ad campaigns that we have. How many do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 marketers on here that are doing real stuff. They're not AI creators. They're not LinkedIn thought leaders who just host podcasts like me. They're actually doing the work in marketing right now. They're going to show you a bunch of great examples. The best part about this, though, is that this is live. Like, this is real, and the chat is usually busy with other marketers just like you and me. So put your name in the chat right now. Let me know. I want to know where you're writing it, like your name, where you're writing in from. And I also want to know, why did you join? Why take the time out of the day to give us an hour and hang out with us on this session? And I got a really fun guest host today. We'll bring her up in a second. Jess Cook. She runs marketing at Vector. And before we get into this session, I just want to give a shout out to Vector for sponsoring this. You probably have anonymous buyers lurking in your funnel, people you can't identify or follow up with, people you can't target with any real precision, and you end up throwing ads at job titles and hoping the right person sees them. By the way, I made a joke last night. This is unrelated, but we got a CMO of a multi-billion-dollar company came through our funnel last night and applied for one of our products, but they used their Gmail. Does that count? Does that count as a lead or not? Like, do I need to go get the work email? Anyway, Vector fixes this problem, not that problem specifically, but instead of targeting job titles and crossing your fingers, Vector lets you build audiences from actual people, the ones visiting your website, clicking your ads, and checking out your competitors. Vector lets you preview exactly who will see your ads before spending a dime. And when someone clicks, you know who it was by name, not just a company. And that's so important. B2B buying cycles, I learned the other day on a podcast with the guy at LinkedIn, 211 days is the average buying cycle, right? It's important to know these signals. So finally, you can stop reporting cost per click and start reporting cost per ICP click. That's a great little nugget right there. The result is paid ads that operate like ABM, only smarter, targeted, personalized, and connected to real pipelines. So you may have heard of Vector before this. You can go check them out, vector.co. They have a special offer for you. They have an exclusive offer for anyone here today, so you can test this out for yourself to see if this is just good ad copy or bogus. Go and check it out. After this session, they'll send you, I have it right here. Go to vector.co and punch in the code E5REVEAL, and they're going to give you a free month of their Reveal plan to let you see who's on your site and clicking your ads by name. All right, we did it. Where's Jess Cook at? Bring her up here. So super excited for this session. Jess, what'd you think of my ads? Would you hire me?
It was fabulous. And I will tell you that we can actually fix that problem of somebody using their Gmail. We can match right up with their work email. So no longer a problem, Dave.
Love that. We can cold call that guy and be like, yo, what was your work email? Real quick.
Right.
Super excited to have you co-hosting. Thanks for helping us put all this together. Before we get in today, in your words, let's just give you the mic. Tee us up. What do we got? We got 5 marketers. What's the plan? What's the format for today?
Running incredible plays with ads, all very different from one another. Every single one of them is working. None of it is magic. All of it is real stuff everyone here can do, which is so exciting. And yeah, we did a little dry run of this the other day, and I was blown away at what people are doing with ads. It's amazing.
Me too. I was on the phone listening in, and I was blowing up Dan because I was like, this is the stuff people want. They want the real examples. Literally every week I get emails from people. We need real examples. We need real examples. So without further ado, let's get into it. So every person is going to have, how many minutes did we decide?
7.
I think it's 7.
Dave,
We're going to show you what they're actually doing. Now, this is where I need audience participation. Number 1, I want you asking questions in the chat, sure, but put them in the Q&A. We have questions that we're going to do with everyone at the end. So not only do we want to show you examples today, but we want to help you with your ads. And so we have an amazing group of people here who can do that. So put them in the Q&A. We can sort them by upvotes, and we'll do that. Add your feedback, questions, comments, notes in the chat. And then also we're going to pick a winner today, and we have a prize at the end that we're going to give them. And so I want you all to help us vote at the end there. Now, one last thing, I just shout out to anybody that's here today. I want to try something new. We all use LinkedIn. We love LinkedIn. If you go to LinkedIn, take a screenshot during this session today, post it on LinkedIn that you're here right now. Like, hey, I was on the Exit 5 live session about, B2B ads, and I learned X, Y, and Z. And we'll pick 3 people. We're going to hook you up with a bunch of Exit 5 swag. We have these really cute swag boxes that we send out, and I want to do that to you. So, all right, without further ado, we got Cindy first up on the clock. Jess and I are hanging out. Sarah Reese says, yay, prize.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Thanks for having us. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
All right. No, that was I'm like, you guys can hear me, right?
Yeah, we're good.
Awesome. Thanks. I'm going to go first. Let me clock time. We're at 6 minutes. Okay, let's go. I'm Cindy Dubon. You may know me from Coldcast, where we are a video content platform. We're gonna, yay. Okay, I'm gonna keep my slides here. So I'm so excited to walk you through an $8,000 campaign that generated $700,000 in pipeline, and I'm just gonna break down what we did. So to start, this is oriented around a product launch, relaunch, if you will. So we have a product called Content Lab. It helps you repurpose all of your video content. If you have not tried it, please go and try it and send me all your feedback. But our thinking here is product launches, there's a typical motion. You're like, hey, this is our new product. Here's all the cool stories that we've sourced ourselves. And so we could post it from our brand accounts, but we market to marketers. And as it being in a room full of marketers, we all know how fun it is to market to ourselves, how picky we are, and how we're just like, no, you don't deserve my time. We've all run the play, right? So funny enough, I was walking into this role, and I happened to also oversee influencer marketing, and we were in a place in the business where we're trying to connect the dots in terms of how to make influencer marketing work. And so we're like, hey, how do we buy? How do you consume content? And basically distilled it down to the fact that we tend to buy from people we know. We spend a lot of time on LinkedIn. And so let's see what we can do here. Keeping us moving. So the way we kind of approach this is product launch plus influencer program. And then how do we pair that with paid distribution? Because, I can easily just post from the organic or the Goldcast page and just promote that as an ad. But the reality is I never really engage with that. It has to be a really, really good ad to engage with it. And typically I'm engaging from folks like Jess and Dave. I'm seeing what people are commenting on their posts. And so we're like, let's see if we can, kind of hack that and make that work for us. I got money to spend. I got to spend it on ads. And so maybe we can make this work.
If you keep putting 7K into 8K into 700K, you're going to have more money to spend.
I mean, this is the problem, once you start throwing numbers like this, the CEO and everyone's like, so if I give you
more,
if I double it, you're going to double it. If I triple it, right? And I'm like, don't look at all the other campaigns that didn't yield this. So this is actually our top our top, we did like analysis. There's 5 top performing campaigns. This was the one that generated like the highest ROI from spend to pipeline and then to revenue. We run a number of experiments, but this one, we're looking for people who use the product. We've definitely tried using people who don't use the product, doesn't work as well. So we want to find people who genuinely love the product. We let them post it themselves. We get a lot of questions of like, are you telling them what to post? Are you telling them to do? No, it's a loose brief. Here's why we think Content Lab's great. We'd like you to talk about it, talk about how you use it in your day to day. And then we're really tight. Our point of view for ads is we do not want to spend $1 on an account that sales is not prioritizing. And so for the most part, bulk of our spend is spent on target accounts. And then the rest of it is on retargeting. Let me keep going. So we send a brief with talking points. We agree on a timing, right? Because you don't want people posting like 3 months later. We're all kind of targeting the same window. And then the target account list. So we picked 4 folks, one of which is our very own Kelly. I'm going to show you 2 ads, but it's from Nick and Dylan. And then Devin Reed is also a big content leader in the space. And they have unique point of view on how they use the product and how they are encouraging others to think through it. Our audience here are marketers, senior manager and above, demand gen events, marketing, typically at mid-market and above companies. We quantify that by employees. I'll take a pause here. So I mentioned we do target accounts. How we do that is we use intent signals. So 6 Sense. We actually don't use 6 Sense anymore, but we had 6 Sense. We use Clay to search for criteria that we think our ICP tends to have. They have video on their website. They do webinars. They're active in events. Job changers, we're tracking those things. I would do a quick plug for Vector, our sponsor, just because I'm a very, very happy customer. But since we've gotten Vector, our initial use case was de-anonymizing visitors. And I think we've moved beyond that. Like, that's great that, we only pay for the traffic that we want to see. But Vector has really allowed us to take another at bat at our audience. And so our mindset has really shifted from just like de-anonymizing visitors and going after them, and instead building target audiences. And, if they didn't convert up for that webinar and they didn't register, like, how can I market to them again? Can I take my webinar content and maybe produce a guide and promote that guide? Maybe it's a blog. So all that to say, we're really challenging our thinking behind like just de-anonymizing visitors and creating segments and creating ad segments and running specific ads to them. And then, of course, like if we've already got their business, we're suppressing that. Oh my gosh, I'm going to be on time. So these are 2 examples of the ads we run. And
break a rule real quick. What was the total? Like, you spent seven grand on the total camp. Was that influencers and ad spend?
No, that's just ad spend. So influencers, I will be honest, like sometimes you ask people and they'll do it for free. I advocate for paying for people, especially ones that are going to amplify your product. But it ranged. So for this one specifically, I believe we did like 500 for a text post, static post, and then we gave, I want to say 1,000 for a post with a video. These both actually have videos. I'll drop the links so you can see it later because I know I won't have time to go through it. But like very natural, these are things they normally post. This is not Gold Cast prescribing what to post. All we asked was like, talk about Content Lab and talk about your experience with Brand Voice, which was a new feature within Content Lab. And so you can see here both of their approaches. And then what else? So we wanted the audience to try for themselves. So one of the tasks here was like, what was the offer? Literally, all we wanted them to do was like promote Content Lab and go check out Content Lab. You go to Content Lab, you can sign up for a free trial. No sales conversations needed. I don't want to talk to a salesperson, even though I myself am peddling a product a lot of the times. But we had the confidence that once you try it, you will like it and appreciate it for yourself. And then we are able to track the trials with the UTM links we gave to our influencers. So Tech Stack, I mentioned 6 Sense, Clay, Vector, LinkedIn. These are thought leadership ads. And then we are able to track attribution from a source standpoint through Salesforce. And then we now have Hockey Stack to give us like the holistic picture of all of them through the journey. And so to recap, 8,700K in pipeline source, 400,001. I will say the stat is for the entire year. This is one campaign of many that we ran. So ton of failures, but also like very, very proud of this. So I think to recap, I think who you pick matters. Letting them do their thing matters. People can sniff out salesy stuff. If you're very prescribed, you lose the impact of it. We weren't spraying, so we're really tight on the list, and we're retargeting folks that we know are on our website, engage with our events. Think about it, like these are people that have interacted with your brand. Here's another at bat with them. And then ultimately, like, the offer matched the ask. And so, like, we're promoting Content Lab. Go try it for yourself. And that was it. Any questions? Drop on the link. Find me on LinkedIn. Happy to share.
You have no idea how hard this is. I'm scribbling down questions. I'm typing to the team in Slack. I have 15 questions and I'm not allowed. This was a mistake. The format of this was a mistake. I should be allowed to ask questions right now, but we can't. We'll come back to it. Cindy, I got questions for you. We're going to come back. Great job.
Thanks, guys.
Okay. By the way, another great feature of this, like, these are all real people. Like, go find them on LinkedIn. If we don't get your question answered directly, go find Cindy, connect with her on LinkedIn, send her a message there. And all right, let's keep it moving. Next to the stage, we got Kelly, a vector. What do you call the vector? What do you call vector? Vectorians, Vectorite. You all had a name.
Come up with a good name.
No, you don't. I think that's the most overrated thing in the world.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, let's go. Kelly's going to talk about B2B surround sound. I love that framing. Set it off.
Awesome. I've got 7 minutes to take you through my first 7 weeks Vector.
Minute a week. Let's go.
This campaign right here. We're just gonna tackle it. And honestly, we're mid-flight. Like, this campaign is live. It's already producing results, but we're still running it for a bit. So we'll report more on that as it develops. We developed a hypothesis around taking a cue from B2C, kind of the idea of surround sound strategy, hyper targeting towards your buyer persona. And we did it across connected TV, YouTube, LinkedIn. So I'm going to talk about how we set that up and some of the results that we saw. Our hypothesis was that surround sound towards a precise contact level audience with really sharp creative would produce pipeline, and it has for us. And actually in a month that we weren't expecting to have a lot of pipeline. So surround sound means showing up across multiple formats with a hyper targeted audience, contact level precision. And the unlock here is having one targeting layer that extends across multiple campaigns, multiple channels. So the setup for us is one core ICP audience across 4 campaigns. So when I say ICP, Vector has a data source of millions of contacts. And essentially we take that and we give it sort of the dimensions of who our buyer personas are, who are the people that would be interested in the type of things we solve for. I optimized for about 120 to 180,000 target size, just to control our spends and to try and get as much reach as possible. We ran connected TV via LinkedIn. Not a lot of people know that you can do that. The advantage of doing that is you get to use hyper targeting on LinkedIn's both native controls and with third-party audiences like Vector. And then we also use that same audience across YouTube ads, brand solution ads, thought leader ads. So we're using the same audience, hitting them with different messaging, different content, all at the same time, building kind of that surround sound idea. And then one other kind of pro tip is we also, because LinkedIn connected TV has a slight augmenting of the audience that gets included, we also got very tight on what we allowed and then retargeted those CTV viewers into our other campaigns as well. On the creative, so we had a couple of different angles that we went with it. The first thing is we worked with an agency. We spent about $35K to develop 4 videos. We felt really confident in those videos because they landed really well on organic. And also when we ran them in YouTube, we could see for over 32%, which is fantastic for B2B. So that was kind of the anchor for a cold audience, is like we wanted to start with this that was really oriented around our brand tone. It was very humorous. The big theme was marketers will go at any length to get a lead. And then at the same time, we also hit them with our kind of brand solution ads and thought leadership ads. So at the same time, they're kind of getting credibility from thought leadership, but also learning about like really what our solution does in a more granular way. And I think these 3 play really well together, actually. But to me, the biggest thing, like we could talk about optimizing campaigns, we can talk about all the sort of things you need to do to be set up structurally, but creative is king, I think, in B2B in particular. And I think the reality is if you're going to show up everywhere, you better be worth watching. So we invested a lot of time into making sure our creative actually represented our brand well. And I think that's actually why it's doing so well. The results here, early but promising. We've had about 34% net new traffic. We've had about 22% increased sales demo requests and an increase of 41% on pipeline month over month. We also delivered on premium channels in CTV. That's another kind of thing with LinkedIn that I really like. You have about 1,000 channels you can broadcast to through LinkedIn Connected TV, but you can also use inclusion and exclusion lists to really narrow that down to premium channels, so that you know that you're hitting your ICP directly on the right kind of channels that provide the best kind of brand recall and brand affiliation. So the playbook is really simple to get started. Start with one core audience. We use vector ICP to do that. Optimize at that 130 to 190 kind of scale. Invest deep in creative. And another thing to know there, that we not only do we have to budget kind of for the video itself, but we also have to budget for actor renewal rights. Something to just keep in mind. We can talk about that if anyone wants to hit me up on LinkedIn. Go multi-channel simultaneously. Close the loop on your retargeting, so make sure that any kind of adjacent buyer committee that gets included in CTV gets retargeted as well. And then control your placements. So we handpicked premium CTV channels, and you can learn about that on your LinkedIn marketing reps, or you can reach out to us. And then obviously, like, we try to measure what matters. So for us, like, we were looking specifically on the effect of how much traffic are we driving the website and how much of that traffic is converting into those in the pipeline.
You did the you use CTV directly. LinkedIn has a integration that you do it all through LinkedIn.
Yes.
Because I was going to ask you, how do you retarget, like, who viewed your, if I'm sitting on my couch watching the golf on a Sunday and I see a vector ad, how do you know that I saw that and then you retarget me?
Yeah, so you can build a retargeting list based off of who views your ads on Connected TV directly through LinkedIn. So the two things to know about CTV is you build that on brand awareness as the core campaign objective in LinkedIn, but then as you have viewers that view it, you build a retargeting audience within LinkedIn as well.
Hey, Kelly, can you share with everybody here the budget that we had on this? Because I think the assumption is you have to have hundreds of thousands of dollars to do something like this.
Yeah, that's a great question. We were aiming to spend 30 to 60K on Connected TV over a couple of months. We started seeing momentum pretty early, around 10K. And right now the campaign has spent about 15.
It's so interesting. This is just a meta observation. We've been doing these for a long time now. I've been doing this for 4 or 5 years, host a million podcast webinars. Like, the number one question always is like, how much did it cost? Right? Whether it's a PR agency, LinkedIn ad, like, it just, we just think budget first, I guess, it's like, that matters. What did it cost?
I think part is like, could I do that? Is it like realistic for me to be able to do something like this? Do I have that kind of money? Right.
I'm about to go fire up I'm about to growth hack some CTV Exit 5 ads myself on the flight to Arizona. Let's go. Let's get this thing up on TV. Last thing, sorry, Dan. I got my Amex, by the way. I'm rogue. I'm not on ramp. I also think another variable here, just want to say this out loud, is like this. One of the reasons, my guess, why this is working is like your brand stands out. The whole ghost mascot thing, it doesn't feel like these highly branded on brand CTV ads, which is an entirely different topic. So great job. Kelly will be in the chat. And Cindy just set us off with a great thing. She's been in the chat going hard, answering everybody's questions. So Kelly, now your turn. Go get a drink of water, go backstage, go answer everybody's questions in the chat. And we'll bring up Jeremy here for our next ad. Jess, you can't vote on that one. I'm removing you from being able to vote.
I'm excluded. I get it.
All right, Jeremy, thanks for joining us here live on Exit 5 Live with Dave.
Thanks so much, Dave and Jess, and I'm really excited to be here. I'm Jeremy Chung, and I'm the founder of Ads by JR, a performance marketing agency where we build revenue-focused paid media programs for B2B that want every dollar tied to pipeline and ARR. We've worked with a lot of brands, DoorDash, Postmates, Harvey.ai. Really excited to share the playbooks, but just want to say a huge thank you to Exit 5 for putting this together, and huge thanks to Vector for having me on this. Excited to share the plays. Just going to run through the agenda here, and we are going to start with the tactic. And so the tactic is that we built this sort of similar to Kelly's, this surround sound campaign to book meetings with venture capital general partners, managing directors, operating partners, the people who decide which agencies their portcos work with. And so the whole strategy is that we have these different touch points that we engage with them we're never going to give them that, book a demo kind of ad or, talk to us right now, but we want to aim to keep it conversational. So never pitch, always show value up front. And so the whole strategy here is to actually do the audit of a portfolio company within their ecosystem. We use Claude to do the entire audit, make it look at the Meta Ads library, the Google Ad Transparency library. My approach here is a bit different. It's very scrappy. It's really going much deeper into what do we see within those portfolio companies? What are the sort of maybe the data lake, the data infrastructure issues, the conversion action issues? What type of MarTech are they using that's maybe antiquated that kind of speaks to their issues? Sometimes we see that their MarTech stack is redundant and that, those MarTech signals are actually very public, and you can actually see what are the issues going on even from the outside. So we take a look, we do this audit. It's a very kind of a mixture of a manual process as well as automatic, being that we have Claude to look into those. We have 5 channels. The main channel here is the direct mail piece. And so over this 21-day sequence, we have the Loom audit that we serve them via email. We also serve them that on our first touch point, which is the postcard. And that postcard is what they receive to basically have the first touch point, introduce ourselves, but also have a QR code in there, which I'll highlight on later slides. So I'm going to go through the full system, what triggers the outreach, who we're targeting, what we actually send them, where it converts, and the tools that run it. Audience here, pretty straightforward, is general partner level decision makers at VC firms, PE firms as well. And the pain is really knowing what portfolio companies, they know portfolio companies waste ad spend, but don't know who to trust to bring down the cost. And so that's where we step in. We step in and we say, hey, we've seen stuff about your portfolio companies, and we know exactly what are the pain points that they're experiencing, where they're wasting spend, and where we can step in to essentially help them save money. We typically work with companies that spend about $100K a month on the very low end. And so these companies are really looking to save a lot of money. We use Clay as well as Claude to enrich the data so that we can collect everything. And Claude is a very, very important part, so that basically that connector, and you have to be very careful with this, what accounts you're connecting, but Claude is that connection between the ad libraries as well as basically like getting into deep into the ad libraries so that you can figure out what the heck is going on. For the ad creative, we use 2 touch points here. This is the main thing I want to highlight upon. Postcard, it's $1.50 per. We send out about 1,200 of those. We have the booklet, which is $35. That is not received by everyone. That's only received by people who scan the QR code. So we're tracking for a QR code. We're having a unique link to each of these QR codes. And then we're sending those people who view our Loom link to basically get this audit that appears at their front desk, appears at the HQ. So yeah. After that, we have that surround sound part, which is the retargeting ads, the email sequence that continues to push forward that value. The LinkedIn retargeting, we invested, I believe it was about $3K or so into that. Thought leader ads, sharing specifics about what they receive in our paid media teardown, kind of being almost like, creepy as to what we're seeing in the back end there with their data infrastructure, with their creatives, with their targeting, etc. And then we have social proofs from our CMOs that we work with about the specific results. So I'm just going to skip this for sake of time. Tools, Clay for the enrichment of the data, Apollo for the outbound email, kind of considering instantly as well. Loom is very key here, and Claude is really deep into the research there. We use Vistaprint for the direct mail as well. And here we are at the results coming up at time. We have we sent out 1,200. We got meetings booked in front of these VCs with 22 of them. We spent about 11.5K, and closed one is about 324K, with each deal averaging at about 9,000 per month. So yeah, we have cost per meeting booked at around 500. So this is something that has contributed a considerable amount of revenue to our agency, and definitely going to experiment with it a bit more, and see what we could do to tap into more intense signals and kind of move the pipeline velocity a bit faster.
Nice work, dude.
Yeah.
Question on the direct mail. So direct mail's hitting. I think the hypothesis on why my hypothesis makes a lot of sense. Mail is still exciting for some reason. My kids run and get the mail. I get the mail. Direct mail works. We did some direct mail recently. One of the challenges for us was like, how do you know so many people, especially in B2B, like they're working from home? How do you know the home versus office? What did you use to get the address match?
So I just use Clay to enrich the data. So the ClayGen, basically you can get their HQ. In terms of the home address, there's different tactics. I mean, you can use Sendoso to ask them for their home address. We prefer not to do that. So that it
This is a cold email, but just curious, what's your home address?
Right. Exactly. Yeah, you don't want to do that. It really depends on how much you've warmed them up and how much, like this particular audience would be so closed to doing that. So definitely be very careful with that.
Cool. All right, Jeremy will pop in the chat right now. A bunch of questions in there. He can get in there. Nice job. Way to go.
Great job, Jeremy.
Thanks for bringing some Dan's all hot bothered. CTV and direct mail, not your average B2B advertising.
So unexpected. I feel like it's like, yeah.
I disagree with both of you. Like everyone has talked about direct mail and B2B for forever. There was like 15 gifting companies that were created in the 2010s. Anyway, side note. All right, let's get Tess up here. Dude, we need music next time. We need a house DJ.
Best glasses in the biz.
Yeah. All right, Tess, you got the mic, sister.
Oh, I don't think we can hear you, Tess.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. It always starts like a Ouija board. Like, can anyone hear me? Is anyone there on the other side? So I'm Tess. I'm the Associate Director of Marketing over at AirVet. If you haven't heard of AirVet, we're like Teladoc, but for pets. So better than Teladoc.
Just a quick question. How do the pets call you?
Vets are calling you. So basically, similar to Teladoc, you can get connected to a vet in a minute or less via chat or video. And it works as a work benefit, just like Teladoc.
Okay. That joke right over your head. Keep going.
I know. No kids, just for a baby.
Well, you can still appreciate a terrible sense of humor. Children.
But I will get into it. I'm glad we probably don't have any salespeople on the call because I'm about to share one of their worst nightmares. What happens, and pens are very relevant here, when you don't have a booth at a conference. So it's every salesperson's perceived worst fear, and it was my job to convince them it wouldn't be. And featured here is some of our AirVet swag, the most beloved of which are these, which are little dachshund pens. So you wiggle their butts. They have pens. It's like the best thing ever, kind of. Yeah, I know we talk a lot about marketing to marketers, but marketing for pets also kind of rocks.
That's pretty fun.
So the problem in the tactic, we were going to an event and we didn't have a booth. Sales team freaks out. How are we going to tell people where we are? What's the point of this? Why are we even going? How are they going to recognize us? My answer, they're going to recognize us the same way that they'd recognize a booth, through branding. So that beautiful AirVet blue, our pens, our logo, we're just going to do it all digitally before. So I thought, let's use our pens. Let's use our creative. Let's use our logo and our swag. HR leaders are our main audience. So we tested 2 ads. 1, let's talk at IBI, which was the conference. And 2, Want a dog pen? Guess which one did better on LinkedIn ads? It was Want a dog pen. We spent about $1,000 on ads. It was a super small list. Of course, like every conference, you are absolutely contractually not allowed to email the attendees before, but we got a full list. So we uploaded all of those into LinkedIn ads and Vector. And we also ran kind of like all of our target accounts in the area. So this was happening in Chicago. And did some lookalike stuff in the area to kind of broaden that list because there were only about 500 attendees, not the best targeting list. And then we made a landing page, so to that slightly extended list. But don't use this landing page. It was a total failure. We got 0 conversions. So even though we got tons of traffic, and we know that through Vector, we got 0 conversions on this page. And if we did not have Vector, and if I was not as stalkers, a bad word, but if I was not as dedicated of a marketer as I am, we would not know the great results. We had about 65% of all conference attendees visit the web page.
Amazing.
So
do you think 65% of attendees would have gone to your booth?
No way. We usually aim for about 35%, right? And I think it's all because of this beautiful but very simple. Can you tell we have like a 1-person marketing team with that ad creative?
We got Canva.
That's all Canva, baby. And so this is Lead Pages. So shout out Lead Pages. But they had all seen this page. We grabbed them and we sent them individual emails because we could kind of prove that they had visited us, they had poked at us. And so we let them know Sugar, one of our team members' dogs, would be on site. We offered to get coffee, and we got that kind of intel beforehand. The results, and there's our beloved Sugar and some of our sales team members. Everyone was looking for the AirVet booth when they got there. There were rumors that they were approaching some pet insurance. We're not pet insurance, for pet telehealth. They were approaching other pet insurance booths being like, where are the dog pens? Where's AirVet? Why are you green and not blue? Asking for contacts, asking for our salespeople by name. The sales team showed up with clear AirVet branding. Everyone was wearing blue. Everyone was wearing and had swag featured in the ads. And of course, a dog and all those dog pens ready to hand out. So despite not having a home base at the conference, the sales team managed to have on-site meetings. They weren't distracted by having to booth babysit, and they were busy throughout the 2.5-day conference, even completely filling out the post-event happy hour that we hosted. So the real thing everyone cares about, what were the results? We had 11 on-site meetings. Post-event meetings, we had 5. We have 3 open deals. The rest have all closed. Our total ROI was over 2,000%, but proving to sales they don't need a booth. Absolutely priceless. And total spend, it was $11,000 for like sponsorship and T&E, and this ad campaign was a grand.
What was sales response after all this? Like, I want to know, like, what did they actually say?
Thank you, Tess.
Which is like, it never happens. When's the last time a salesperson?
No, and it built that trust. I always say I come from a family that believes in the sales marketing partnership. My mom worked in sales. My dad works in sales. My mom worked in marketing. My sister works in sales at an AI company. I work in marketing and pet telehealth. So proof that we can all live harmoniously in one home. That's how we grew up. It's the career choices we continued on. So yeah, I think it's just, a booth is branding at its core. It's just branding you can kind of stand around. And if your branding's good enough, you can still stand around it online.
Love it. I think there are just 2 things on you said. Number 1, I think this is so important, regardless, like this test just used this one example, but when you can actually do something that generates results for the sales team, when those are your counterparts, that is the number 1 way to gain credibility. It's like you can show them all the PDFs and all the blog posts and all that. Nope, this is how you do it. We created an idea. We booked 11 meetings like out of thin air. Like that's how they get you to work with you on more stuff next time. And then I love this. I love the scrappiness of like, I don't remember if you said why you didn't have a booth, but I would in my career, it'd be like, we're going to this event. Okay, it's this what's cost for the booth. Like, is there like a guerrilla marketing play that we could do here? Like, we're sending 3 salespeople. What could we do? This is the stuff that I love. B2B marketing, B2C marketing, whatever. Like, this is a perfect example of like scrappy, creative, results driven, like awesome job. Love it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. All right. We got one more. We got Richard, and then we're gonna have some time. So we got Richard, and then we got a bunch of questions. I love the guests being in the chat right now, but we'll Aaron has collected some of the questions we didn't get to, and I'll make sure we bring everybody up and we have time to try to rip through any of those as we can. So Richard, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. Hey everybody, I'm Richard. I'm the director of go-to-market and growth at GoHappy. I'm here to talk to us today about how we created a multi-channel signal-based strategy so we could stop overspending on LinkedIn. So basically, we just wanted to stop giving LinkedIn all of our money, right? But before I get into it, I just want to give a quick anecdote. Dave, I hope you're okay with me sharing this. I didn't ask, but I first heard about Dave when he was still at Drift. One of my colleagues at the time had emailed Dave so many times trying to book you for a podcast that you finally responded with like, please stop, this is getting weird. So see, this is not real. Oh, I had to make
That's, you know what's so funny? Okay, so can I just tell you something? Like 99% of the time I have learned now, like whether it's a comment online or whether it's email, just like do not respond. Nothing good comes out of responding. And every now and then I slip up and I just like have to say something. And this must have been a perfect example. I had a guy the other day. This guy, I don't know what company it is, but someone has emailed me with the subject line lunch ? Like for the last 3 weeks in a row, every single Monday. And I just replied to that. I do not want to have a goddamn lunch with you. Take me off your list. And I didn't even mean to send it. And then I get all these spam, like these do you ever get these robo texts like, hey, it's been a while. How are you doing? And the other day I just wrote back to someone, I'm doing really, really, really bad. This is not good. And I just wanted to see where it goes. And I made the huge mistake. Then I go on Reddit. And what I learned is that confirmed that I'm real. And then now I get more texts. So lesson number, you don't respond. Thanks.
I'm going to borrow the line though. Please stop. This is getting weird. That's just every pitch slap.
The problem is like a lot of salespeople will try to then flip this like, oh, I got a response signal.
Yeah,
that's a signal.
Honestly, though, like I don't. It's for a podcast appearance. Like I don't know if you actually ever appeared on that podcast, Dave. I would assume not. But you know, it's like it's one thing to be cold pitched for something, but it's almost worse to be cold pitched for
my
a
bad.
podcast.
Look, my bad. I didn't know that one day you were going to be here, so my bad. All right.
No, it wasn't for me. It was for somebody in the senior leadership at the organization I was at the time. So it actually became like a running joke. It humbled some people a little bit. The email circulated as a meme for months.
Awesome.
So trying to get back on track here. So I've been working with GoHappy for 2.5 years now. Our mission is to help all frontline workers feel more valued and connected so they can reach their full potential and live more fulfilling lives. We've been working in the frontline tech space since 2000. So it's in our DNA. And like a lot of B2B brands, we have a very hard to define, very niche ICP. Which presents itself in all sorts of really fun problems, despite the fact that frontline employees make up 80% of the United States workforce. You think that the people who actually manage them and are responsible for them are actually very difficult to reach, and you wouldn't think you could reach them in traditional manners. So that takes us to our problem, which our problem was, like a lot of other B2B brands, 90% of our ad spend is on LinkedIn. And when 90% of your ad spend is on a single channel, it means you are increased at risk if there's any ad platform changes, which we had. Lucky us. We had a 91% increase in CPMs from Q1 to Q4 of last year. So our ad budget is going significantly less than it was previously. And our audience penetration had dropped all the way to 23%. So in any given month, we're only reaching about 1/5 of our total audience. So combating all of that, we also saw another metric that really concerned us, which is that our meeting booking rate from LinkedIn, which had historically been pretty good, started to really decline. It declined 36%. So I'm reaching a lot less people. I'm paying a lot more for my ads, and my booking rate's declining. That's kind of like the worst combination of things, right? So I kind of summarize this problem is that we needed more at-bats, right? We needed to get more reach against our ICP to really try to resolve this problem. So to address it, we took a 3-step process to make sure that we're doing it the right way. The first is we lock in our positioning. We work with a company called Pitch Maps to really work with stakeholders and key partners to get a really good POV on how we should go to market with our message. And we rolled out into a creative and testing plan that I'll show here in just a second. We then also worked with our head of sales to rework our ABM approach. So we took our ICP definitions into Clay. We scored accounts on 2 dimensions, which is our ICP fit, all the fun technographic, location, firmographic data, and then our first-party intent and third-party intent from tools like Vector. We ended up having like 13 different sources to like measure intent, and we scored it in this crazy-ass Clay table. And we decided, all right, sales, like we're ready to go. So we decided to test new channels and use Vector in particular to expand to other channels like Facebook and Google Display. Before we did that, we wanted to make sure that Vector was not full of it though. And so we did do a small pilot on LinkedIn, use the company insights tab, and then also use other de-anonymization platforms to verify that the information that we're getting from Vector was actually the right. So if they're telling me I'm targeting Director Plus in these functions, that's actually who I'm seeing. So when that pilot worked really well, we decided to scale. With scaling, we created what I call the intent flywheel. And this is basically really B2B retargeting, but it sounds cooler because I'm calling it the intent flywheel. We take our first party intent data sources like Vector, key visits on our page like pricing page, like on our guided tours that we do via Story Lane. When that happens, we send, hey, this signal to Clay, and we put it on the company record in a Clay table. That Clay table then syncs back into HubSpot, and we send that into our ad channels, often through Vector. The crazy thing is when we're adding and we're adding more ad budget to the accounts that are showing us intent, those accounts show even more intent. So it's like kind of like a circling the drain type effect to really build up that that type of engagement with our bottom funnel accounts. I did mention we did expand our creative and web experiences. So we started off with tone and intent, moving away from some of the traditional B2B, language that's a little less friendly into more friendly tones, such as like texting on the job. Actually, that's what we want them to do. You're making them download an app. Like, have you thought that they might not need an app at all? Or think outside the inbox, which is my favorite, and it actually performed really well. We also did multivariate web testing with Crazy Egg, with landing page, layout, copy, all that fun stuff. But the results really did kind of catch our team by surprise. The first thing is from the ad delivery perspective, by moving just 20% of our ad spend to other channels outside of LinkedIn, we actually generated 2 times the impressions in February than we did all of Q4. We hit 1 million impressions for the first time ever, which is really, really cool. Our CPMs decreased by 75%, and simply getting your ads in front of your target audience more can really help. And in this case, we generated 3.5 times the average amount of pipeline that we would normally generate a month. And from paid channels directly is 5.2 times. So if any final thoughts for y'all is that don't overthink it. First of all, if you aren't able to have adequate account coverage in your ABM strategy, it's not really an ABM strategy. So if you're only getting 23% of your audience reached in a single month, you need to figure out other ways to reach them. Second, validate, then scale. Really like the Vector team, but once again, I want to make sure that they're right. Whenever you're trying to make sure that you're reaching the right people, it helps before you put a ton of money behind it to make sure that's actually the right people. And then last is first-party intent data. I love Vector's third-party intent data, but I treat it secondarily. What's happening with me and my website and the signals that we're able to send when they're interacting directly with me is much more valuable. And that's really the difference between creating that intent flywheel. So thanks so much for the time, y'all.
Beautiful. Richard, which ad creative was your top performer? Do you know?
So the ones, anytime we featured a phone to really make the point that we text your frontline employees, they don't have to download an app or anything like that, actually really performed well. So we our new creative test is if we're doing same copy with the phone featured or not a featured, just kind of get that quick visual cue. But the really quick-witted copy, specifically about avoiding an app download, really performed well. So a little sassy.
So good. Heck yes.
I didn't pay attention to anything after the first slide, if I'm being honest. No, just kidding. No, it's great job. Great job. I love the headline, like that feels very like it was on your brand, but like the copy was very intentional and you did a great job. Let's bring the crew up. Producer Aaron, send everybody up here. Send the marketers up here. Real quick. This is an expensive meeting. Really quickly, look at this. There's a lot of pipeline and skills in this room. Okay, so a couple things. Let's do rapid fire. Aaron kind of recapped a bunch of the questions, and I'm just gonna see if you can give me like 1 or 2 sentence answers. We'll give this to you all after, and we can try to follow up. Specifically, so Cindy, we kind of hit on this, like how much did the influencers cost? Let me just rifle through these, and you can decide what to answer. How much did the influencers cost? What was the total spend? Why did you guys stop using 6 cents? Did you build all of your target audience lists outside of LinkedIn? My question, most important, you mentioned UTMs here and tracking success with influencers. And we've done a bunch of stuff like this in the past. And I've always kind of wondered, my only issue with like the influencer play in LinkedIn and the UTMs is like, we're only now getting attribution on if they click that specific link, where it could be like, oh, I saw Goldcast Content Lab, 3 months ago from Devin Reeds. Do you think about that in your ROI analysis on influencers at all?
Yeah, so a lot of the other questions I've already answered in the chat. So I'm gonna just take that last one, Dave. UTMs at the beginning were like all we had. And so literally straight line, right? Did they like what was the engagement on the post and then how many people signed up for the trial via the link? But now we have vector where you layer on top of the page. You can create another ad segment. You can de-anonymize. You can see that. The other piece of it is like we have hockey stack now. So it's like giving us a holistic picture beyond that one UTM like, but like 100%. If you're trying to look for like specifics, you're going to lose. It's going to be a failing program. But when you're able to connect the broader things, like was there a spike in traffic during this time?
Yeah.
Did you notice more hits to your website, MQLs, et cetera, right? And then again, like I mentioned, now it's more of you now have this target audience that's engaged through this. They may have not signed up for Content Lab, but you can have other at-bats with them. So maybe it's not Content Lab. Maybe it's like a webinar on content repurposing. And that's where you're running an ad for that event, or you're de-anonymizing and targeting them that way, through outbound even. But yeah.
Kelly, what was your total? Good job, Cindy, and good job in the chat, by the way. Kelly, what was your total budget? Is there a demand capture aspect to your campaign? Is there a sales touch or book a demo retargeting?
Yeah, great question. For the first flight, again, we're kind of mid-flight with this campaign, so it's still ongoing. But our total budget for everything for the quarter was $60K, roughly. But we're on track to hit that right now. And then the second question is on the demand capture. Yes. So actually both the thought leader campaign and the brand solution campaign linked to a book a demo form. So we saw quite a few conversions come through there as well.
Cool. Jeremy, how did you match your target audience for direct email? And do your direct mail providers provide matched audience?
Yeah, so I used Clay to make sure that the audiences were enriched and make sure that everything is very accurate. So really relying on Clay for everything there.
Clay. Okay.
Clay, pretty much.
Yeah, sure. Clip that, send it to him. Tess, how did you get the full list before the event without being a sponsor?
We did sponsor, we just didn't have a booth. So we sponsored the happy hour the night before.
Nice. I thought you brought hey, would you like a dog pen?
You'd be surprised how much that does work.
I know.
Those dog pens turn numbers.
What tool did you use to create the lookalike audience?
LinkedIn ads has an embed tool.
Cool. Okay. All right. Folks, we need your help. We're going to roll a poll right now. I'd like to pick a winner. So, Aaron, let's roll that poll. No pressure. Look, just like we love you all. Everyone's a winner here at Exit 5, but there is a winner. Someone's going to win. So, favorite campaign. Do we know the prize? What is the prize?
The prize, Dave, is a Vector swag pack.
A Vector swag pack. That's
sweatshirt and
very exciting.
Ghost plushie.
Oh, nice. I have 2 of those. Dog destroyed one of them. Okay, so favorite campaign. Wow. Look, shout out to all of you. You brought the heat. We're going to turn this. This is going to be a podcast episode. We'll share all this later. Be on YouTube. Everybody can watch later. But Tess, way to go, Tess. no booth, in person,
Amazing.
B2B play, wiener dog, butt shaking pens. You nailed it.
It's the dog pens. It's the dogs.
Way to go. Congrats. You're the proud new owner of a bunch of Vector swag. Now, we are addicted to measurement, demand gen folks. You all can appreciate that here. I have one more last poll before we wrap up. I just want to get a quick rating on today's session. If you attended this really helps us figure it out, like the right content, the right topic. So let's roll. Producer Aaron, let's roll the last poll here before we let everybody jump. Just give us a rating here. We do this in all our meetings. You could do fist to 5. It's really uncomfortable if you have to do it in front of everybody. But here we'll do it. What would you rate today's session? Holy smokes. That's great. Lots of 5s. Really good. All right. Let's give a shout out one last time. Cindy, Kelly, Tess, Richard, Jeremy, Jess Cook. I'm Dave Gerhardt, founder here at Exit 5. We'll have this on YouTube, Spotify. It's on my podcast. Dave's podcast also be in our newsletter in a couple weeks. And go find all these people, connect with them on LinkedIn, and we'll see you on the next one of these. All right. I'm Dave Gerhardt, founder here at Exit 5. We'll have this on YouTube, Spotify. It's on my podcast. Dave's podcast also be in our newsletter in a couple weeks. And go find all these people, connect with them on LinkedIn, and we'll see you on the next one of these. All right, we'll be back 6 months. Maybe we'll do another one. More ads. Okay. All right. See you all.